You think you've got my number figured out? A motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a colding gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine.
Welcome to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Monday. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for the support. You guys are coming in hot. Thank you so much. Mr. with a tier 1 sub. I appreciate it. Here with another tier 1 sub. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. Thank you, guys. Thank you. You guys are what makes this channel go. I appreciate it. Welcome, everybody. All right. Welcome, everybody. Quad Bennett, Michael Hasser, Cognizant, Heat, how's it going? Trump ice, indeed. Fascism is here, folks. Thank you, guys, for the support. Thank you. Heat with 100 biddies. 100 biddies. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Wow. Even more, but I was broke AF for a bit. No problem. Thank you. Thank you so much. 42 months indeed. Eat, drink, and be merry for tomorrow. Well, we're in Trump's America now. True. Sure, we got lots to talk about, folks. Lots of stuff happening. And this is only week 2, by the way. Only week 2. Not week 1 million. It sure feels that way. It sure feels that way. It feels like this year is already long, and we haven't even finished January, and it feels like this year has been a long year, and we haven't even finished January. All right, folks, let's get started. Oh yes, before we get started, folks, don't forget join our wonderful community on the Discord, and do all the awesome stuff. Okay, subscribe to the Substack. There's a new article there, and it's free. It's free. For those of you on the YouTube, keep liking the stream and subscribe. Thank you, guys. And if you want to support the channel directly, consider checking out the merch store and hitting !tip if you want to support the channel directly. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Settling in to draw myself for 4 years from all the inane nescience.
The sun's going to come out. It'll be hot and humid. Definitely make sure you limit your time outdoors and stay hydrated.
You're such a light to be around.
Thank you all for welcoming me and welcoming me into your home.
That lovely woman that you just heard from is Sam Cuffle. She is an on-air meteorologist respected by her peers and loved by her community in Milwaukee, and she also does sports commentary on local radio shows from time to time, but she was just fired from the news station that she works for criticizing Elon Musk. Now, if you're wondering whether or not she paused a weather report to attack Elon Musk, the answer is no. She criticized him on her own personal private Instagram account and was subsequently fired because of it. But let's take a look at what got her fired in particular. So in an Instagram story, she reacted to Musk's Nazi salute, writing, "Dude, Nazi saluted twice. during the inauguration, you fuck with this and this man, I don't fuck with you, full stop. Now, she also shared a gif of Mac, a character from the TV show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, saying, screw that old bitch, he's a Nazi. Now, Dan O'Donnell, a radio host in Milwaukee, got wind of her Instagram story and snitched to her employer on Twitter, writing, exclusive, CBS 58
Exclusive local weather person accurately describes what happened at the presidential inauguration. That's actually freaking wild. That this is what happened. Mighty Mouse, Mouselander, yes. Join the YouTubes. Thank you. Keeping it down, holding it down for the YouTube crew. She's hilarious, to be honest. Meteorologist Sam Kuffel makes a pair of vulgar Instagram posts while spreading the lie that Elon Musk was giving a Nazi salute during yesterday's presidential inauguration. Nah, man. No, there was no lies detected there. It was a freaking Nazi salute. There's nothing vulgar about it unless you're more upset about 3 curse words. Unless you're more upset about 3 curse words than you are about the richest man in the world, Sieg Heiling, at the presidential inauguration, then like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. Meanwhile, the actual Nazi gets to keep his job. Exactly. Well, she has a morals clause, can't call out Nazis. Exactly. On her private Instagram, by the way.
Sam Kuffel makes a pair of vulgar Instagram posts while spreading the lie that Elon Musk was giving a Nazi salute during yesterday's presidential inauguration. Hey, fuckwad, she's not a liar. You're the liar. It was a Nazi salute. Here's how it looks compared to out and proud Nazis.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, case closed. Again, you don't need this Nazi salute to, like, kind of know that Elon Musk is a Nazi, right? Like, this is not, this is not, like, earth-shattering evidence, right? Like, this is not new, is what I'm trying to say. This is why I don't have social media accounts, and no one I know in my personal and professional life knows my Twitch and YouTube identities.
Yeah, so it was a Nazi salute, but this guy is more offended by naughty words than Elon Musk's Hitler salute. But it doesn't matter how disingenuous he's being, because he got what he wanted. The Milwaukee Journal reports staffers at WDJT-TV Channel 58 were alerted by email on Wednesday that meteorologist Sam Kuffel had left the station. Her biography and picture had been removed from the Channel 58 website by Wednesday afternoon. Meteorologist Sam Kuffel is no longer employed at CBS 58, said the staff memo from news director Jesse Garcia that was obtained by the Journal Sentinel. A search for a replacement is underway. A spokeswoman for Weigel Broadcasting.
That's so freaking sad, man. That's so sad. He's biting his lips so he doesn't say Heil. Exactly. Ladybug, welcome, welcome.
Co. confirmed via email late Wednesday that Kuffel was no longer with Channel 58, but the spokeswoman said she couldn't comment further because this was a personal issue. Now, they're not confirming that she was fired specifically because she did criticize Elon Musk, and they're not going to tell us that. But I don't think it's a coincidence that she's suddenly gone and her Instagram account has gone dark, and now they're looking for a meteorologist when they had one that was really good at her job. So let's be clear, CBS 58 is siding with a rich Nazi over their own meteorologist, who should, by the way, be free to condemn Nazis, especially when she's off the clock. It is despicable that they did this to her. But it is encouraging to know that people are not taking this lying down, because their social media pages were bombarded with angry viewers criticizing them for bending the knee to fascists. For example, people are replying to them on Twitter saying, perfect Nazi weather. We want Sam back. Justice for Sam Kuffel. Hire back Sam. Nazi. I like that CBS 58 always gives short forecasts. They're usually 14 words long. Yeah. Now, that's just on Twitter, by the way. If you go to their Facebook page, people are complaining under every single post. You fired the meteorologist. The weather person, she talks about snow. She did not professionally cross any lines. You need to rehire her immediately. This must be embarrassing you. It should, as it is disgraceful. Now this person says, hope everyone drove home safely last night. This person responds saying, CBS 58 hopes only the Nazis got home safe. I was a broadcast news reporter long before I was a Christian minister, and what you've done is the act of toadies and cowards, not communicators of truth. Shame. CBS 58 is complicit in Nazi symbolism and fired a meteorologist for criticizing someone making a Nazi salute. And
Yeah, 100%. Hey, Ladybug, how's it going? Welcome.
there's a lot more where that came from. So thankfully, people are pissed off. And rightfully so. You know, it's already bad enough that Trump's administration is targeting media outlets for simply criticizing him, but it's so much worse that media outlets are complying in advance when they don't have to do that. The fact that they are doing that is further accelerating our country's descent into fascism. But now, more than ever, we all need to make full use of our First Amendment rights, because it's clear that large multinational corporations and companies, they're going to bend the knee to Donald Trump and fascists. So we've got to fill that void that's being left by these spineless media conglomerates who are too afraid to stand up to fascists. But it goes to show you how these media companies, they are businesses at the end of the day, and they're going to do what they need to protect their bottom line. Informing people is secondary to...
Yeah, like, again, that's always, we have like historical precedent as to how corporations behave when faced with fascism.
To their goal of making money. So when Trump sues ABC News for defamation, even though it's completely frivolous, or uses his platform on Truth Social to say that MSNBC shouldn't have a broadcast license, that's gonna have a chilling effect on free speech, because they're gonna respond by self-censoring so as to avoid costly lawsuits. I mean, Trump's biggest critics, Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski, kissed his ring almost immediately after the election, and they personally went to Mar-a-Lago themselves to bend the knee to avoid his wrath. And, you know, it's not just the defamation lawsuits that they're worried about. Trump is also going to use the full power of the state to crush dissent, even if it explicitly violates the First Amendment. For example, his FCC chair, Brendan Carr...
Yeah, I mean, like, Trump's... We already know that Trump's not really interested in, like, what the Constitution actually says. So, yeah, that's cool. You need to make use of your First Amendment rights before Trump burns the Constitution. When they inevitably ban the use of the word Nazi, as will happen, we can use the code phrase Friends of Adolf to get around this time. Oh, man.
Who's also a Project 2025 contributor, by the way, is already going after outlets for criticizing Donald Trump. HuffPost reports the Federal Communications Commission revived 3 complaints.
If these a-holes get their way, you know, I could totally see that.
Against NBC, ABC, and CBS on Wednesday after a conservative group alleged multiple instances of bias against now President Donald Trump during the election season. The FCC chair under Joe Biden, Jessica Rosenworcel, dismissed the complaints last week in the final days of Biden's term. She said at the time the filings had sought to weaponize the licensing authority of the FCC in a way that is fundamentally at odds with the First Amendment. And she was right, but in comes Trump's crony, and he says, to hell with the First Amendment. We are going to weaponize regulatory agencies to go after Trump's critics. Never mind the fact that these agencies are meant to protect consumers. We're going to use them to make sure that Donald Trump's ego is protected. And to be clear, the reasons why they're going after these networks are completely frivolous. They're accusing ABC News of bias because they fact-checked Trump more than Kamala Harris at the presidential debate. It doesn't matter that it's an objective fact that he lied more. It doesn't matter. They're also accusing NBC of violating equal time for bringing Kamala on Saturday Night Live and not Donald Trump. They're accusing CBS of deceptively editing their interview with Kamala Harris. And I mean, all interviews are edited for a plethora of reasons, but even though that had no impact whatsoever on the election.
Yeah, so like, are we going to be able to sue Sean Hannity for the interview that he did with Trump? Like, I don't know, man. You know, they know the power of words, if nothing else. Right. Yes. And they would like to harness that or short circuit that power when it's used against them.
Assume that it was edited to make her look better. It had zero impact on the election because he won. Doesn't matter. This administration, out of the gate, is sending a very clear message to everyone in media. Criticize us, and you're going to pay a price for it. And that's likely why the CBS affiliate here in this story felt the need to capitulate to Nazis by firing their meteorologist, since CBS is already in hot water with this administration. But, I mean, they have no excuse. I'm sorry. They have all the lawyers and all the money in the world to fight these frivolous lawsuits that challenge their very existence, but they're choosing to cave because it's just less costly than fighting. So it's a business decision at the expense of democracy, which is pretty...
It's pretty... We have historic precedents over this. Corporations are not there to uphold democracy. That's not their job. The job of a corporation isn't to uphold democracy or the will of the people. That's not what they're there for. You're not hired as a CEO, or you're not part of a board of directors or shareholders of a company because you want to protect democracy. You're there because you want to make money. That's it. And if saving, the legal costs of, I don't know, whatever millions it takes to fight these frivolous lawsuits, then screw it, right? Like, you're not gonna, you're not gonna stand up for what's right. There's no incentive to do so. The incentive is the opposite.
Pretty disappointing, but not surprising. This is what we have to look forward to over the next 4 years. But it's not just mainstream media, it's also social media that's caving to this administration. For example, after Zuck the Cuck puckered up and kissed Trump's ass and was then rewarded for it with the top seat at his inauguration, users on both Facebook and Instagram started reporting that search results for Democrats were being hidden. Now, the company claims that it's a mistake that has since been resolved, but it's not the only conspicuous thing that's happening on Meta's platforms. Also, users were reporting that their accounts automatically followed Donald Trump, and some weren't able to unfollow him after realizing that they were automatically following him. Also, as friend of the show David Dole points out, these are from my newsfeed on the TRN show account. I don't follow any of these pages, it's just what shows up first. Now, as you can see, it's just straight up fake right-wing news comparable to the shit that you see on Twitter. There's a fake report about ABC replacing Jimmy Kimmel with Tucker Carlson. There's a pro-fossil fuel propaganda post. There's a fake report about Elon Musk buying MSNBC and firing Joy Reid. He's also apparently buying CBS and removing wokeness, according to this post. It's just bogus bullshit intended to be catnip for MAGA boomers. And speaking from my own experience, I don't use Meta platforms that much, but I logged onto Instagram recently, and for the first time ever, I saw an ad for Matt Walsh. Now, it's not too surprising because the Daily Wire does advertise heavily on Meta platforms, but I'm not in their particular demographic, so in theory, I shouldn't be shown that, since, most of my Instagram follows are apolitical, and the political pages that I do follow are left-leaning, pro-LGBTQ, pro-Palestine, so I'm not in their demographic to maximize the impact of that ad. But I log on, and I'm greeted with Matt Walsh all of a sudden. I mean, on Twitter, it's pretty common to see Matt Walsh or Elon Musk or other right-wing dickheads, but on Instagram, that is something that is very rare. But it just feels like, this is suspicious. Now, this could all...
Nah, not really. I mean, I think that, there is a heavy presence of, right-wing stuff on Instagram, and it functions the same way. Because, I mean, I don't follow that many accounts either, and if I just, mindlessly scroll through, Reels or something, or, the short... Instagram shorts or whatever, more often than not, you end up in a right-wing wormhole. So I could see that. The more people are forced to conflate business with government, the more likely people engage in violent rebellion. If people think they are backed into a corner with no protection, they lash out.
Be entirely coincidental. We're talking about anecdotes here, but it feels like these anecdotes are indicative of a platform-wide trend to push MAGA to everyone's feed, and it's happening after Zuck the Cuck is getting buddy-buddy with Donald Trump. But it's not just Meta, because since TikTok's been back after blasting a, pro-Trump message to 170 million people, creators on the platform felt like something was a bit off and that the algorithm felt different. As Semaphore explains, users weren't seeing the kinds of videos that would typically be suggested to them, they said, and some US users claimed their primary feed, search function, and comments were being censored. Posts calling attention to the matter have racked up millions of likes. So we're not talking about isolated incidents. We're talking about an app-wide trend. People are experiencing something that is going on. And to show you what I mean, so Alex Naivete shared this screen recording on Twitter from TikTok where he types in Free Palestine into the comment section of a Hassan TikTok. He then waits a little bit, he refreshes a couple of times, and then all of a sudden he gets a notification letting him know that his comment was removed for violating TikTok's hate speech policies.
Amazing.
So that's pretty alarming, to say the least.
Amazing. Free Palestine is now considered hate speech on TikTok. I swear that YouTube sends right-wing stuff at me. I just swat it away. Yeah, I mean, and all it takes, by the way, is just clicking on one. Like if you're, for example, me, and you are doing Oppo research, and you just click on one video because you want to talk about something that, say, Ben Shapiro said the other day or whatever. Yeah, that's all it takes. Now, the only thing you'll be suggested is a bunch of, like, garbage. So, yeah, I have another account that I can do that with.
Now, this is pure speculation on my part, but TikTok's president could have given Trump some assurances that, if he came back, it would be under certain conditions, and Trump would then help TikTok survive in the event these conditions were met. I don't know if that's happening, but all of a sudden, saying Free Palestine violates TikTok's TOS. That is a very big change, but that's not the only thing.
That's wild. Quit TikTok, people. Yep.
That's happening. The user that we're about to hear from cleverly got the message out to her followers that she was being censored while trying to avoid even more censorship.
Hi friends, I just wanted to come on here and say how eternally grateful I am for all of the support that I've received recently. I feel so loved, and I hope that there is a way that I can return all of that love. I know that today is different and we are going through some changes, but I truly feel that if we stick together, that we can make it through. So, thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much.
Her videos are being removed for violent extremism. Now, I'm not familiar with this creator, but just taking a brief glance at her content, that is demonstrably untrue. She's mostly an apolitical TikToker who makes Swiftie content and talks about pop culture, but it's possible her account might be flagged if she personally consumes a lot of political content, in particular content that the US government thinks is extreme, namely pro-Palestinian content. But I don't know, that's just conjecture at this point, but it's evident that something very ominous is happening on TikTok. Something across social media platforms is happening that is getting users to think something is different and wrong. I mean, we do know that Project 2025 has a subsection called Project Esther, which strives to completely dismantle anti-Israel dissent within the United States in 12 months. I mean, this wasn't necessarily a secret. Trump's been pretty open about his intent to crack down on pro-Palestinian protesters and deport student protesters. So it's not unreasonable to assume that Trump-aligned oligarchs who own these social media companies might be suppressing pro-Palestinian content at the behest of this administration. But again, we don't have evidence. We're just noticing these changes and trends and reacting to it. But for now, this is nothing but speculation. And unfortunately,
the more you use these platforms, the more you facilitate the spread of this intellectual toxicity. Yeah, it's kind of like a catch-22, right? It's kind of like a catch-22, right? Because, like, on one hand, like, I think that social media can be, with the right guardrails, a very good way of communicating with each other and being able to circumvent like normal, perhaps state censors, but now as long as it's within private hands, then we kind of get this result. It's very different on Twitter. Yep.
Fortunately, YouTube might not actually be immune from this either, because YouTube's parent company is Google, and Google's CEO was also at Trump's inauguration, likely currying favor with him, perhaps hoping that his FTC chair doesn't invoke antitrust laws against them. Not a big threat under this administration that's very pro-business, but nonetheless, he was there to maybe get more tax breaks or deregulation or some type of favorability with this administration. Now,
yeah, government funding for AI, maybe. I use Twitch and Discord. I have used Facebook, Insta, and MySpace, but that's ancient history. We need to go back to the MySpace days. I actually used to like MySpace. I don't know why we switched to Facebook. Facebook kind of just took over everything. And I was on MySpace for a while, and then Facebook happened. The only way those guardrails exist if they are enforced by government regulation, because they will never self-regulate, because the company will only do what's profitable. Right. So I mean, like, not that it's going to happen, but like the ideal scenario is where these things return to public hands. But
I haven't personally noticed any changes on YouTube myself, thankfully, but some people have. Blakely, a YouTube creator with 20,000 subscribers, had their monetization nuked all of a sudden for a completely bogus reason. They explain, YouTube demonetized my entire channel over a single video taken down, a warning that should have resulted in no penalty per their own stated guidelines. They claimed my video, which they should have never taken down, was promoting violent extremism. Sound familiar? A totally ludicrous claim. When I appealed it, they rejected the appeal within minutes, and despite my members being told they're working hard to restore monetization to me and putting on my emails that it's paused, they told me that it was permanently demonetized in an email, which contradicts not only their own stated rules and guidelines, but contradicts what they emailed me, told my members, and what's in my studio. Something is off. Something isn't adding up. And this is the second time in a year this has happened to my account. Same claim, same attack, same subject. And take a wild guess as to what the subject is. Palestine. Now, if this is reversed, that will be reassuring because it indicates that this isn't a trend, but it's not the first time that this has happened to somebody on YouTube, right? And if this isn't reversed, Blakely is a pretty large creator at 20,000. It could signify the start of a new trend where they really crack down and suppress or even punish pro-Palestine content creators in order to appease Donald Trump's censorship agenda. And if this is actually what's happening, again, we don't have evidence that this is a broader trend so far.
Yeah, then all bets are off. Things that would be the bad one. That would be the bad time. Not good. Not great. Sue YouTube. I mean, like, man, it's such BS because there's no violation of TOS. Echo Rusted Dragon, welcome.
Just anecdotes, but I mean, if this is happening, it has serious implications, as Blakely explains.
The way people felt like they were having the rug pulled from under them with TikTok just being banned. That is the point, and that is the reason why other leftist creators on YouTube should care about this. Because if they can just pull the rug like that without just sidestep their entire process.
Yeah, and they could always do this. That's the problem. They can always do this. They always had this switch, lever, whatever you want to call it. Bonzilla the Inevitable. Hey, welcome. Good to see you as well.
What makes them think they can't do that to them? Every leftist creator should care about this. In fact, even if you're not a leftist creator, if you're a creator at all, because if they can do this to me and just sidestep the whole process, then they can do it.
I was Abon before. Oh, hey. Well, welcome back.
To you too.
That's exactly right. And now more
Bonzilla should have given it away.
than ever. Creators have to be a united front, and we've got to have each other's backs. So with that being said, I'm going to link you to Blakely's Patreon and YouTube and encourage you to blast all of Blakely's tweets. That is, if you still have Twitter, so we can get YouTube's attention, because they typically don't take action unless, you know, enough people make a big stink about something like this. This is what happened to me. This is what happened to others, the Cavernacle and whatnot. So you've got to make them pay attention to you. Now, again, I'm not alleging that this is a widespread phenomenon on YouTube. We just have anecdotes at this point. But given the censorious social media era that we're in, I do think that we should be hypersensitive to these kinds of things and try to draw as much attention to them as possible so we can pressure these companies to do the right thing. Now, I am still holding out hope that YouTube will do the right thing and reinstate Blakely and reject this new trend of social media censorship. But, you know, that's yet to be seen. In conclusion, though, this is just the beginning of the Trump administration's attempts to silence dissent, and media, as well as social media, has already demonstrated their willingness to obey in advance.
Yeah, like that's the kind of like the problem, that like there's no incentive, there's no moral incentive to do the right thing, because like the only thing that matters really is defending your pocketbook. And these companies don't care about one creator, you know, getting nuked off the platform, as long as it means that they get, you know, as long as it means that the gravy train keeps going.
So that means we have to branch out and try to form communities on alternative apps, preferably encrypted ones, and diversify our social media accounts so that way we have followings on different platforms. In the event we're silenced on one, we can then go to another and advocate for ourselves. But I mean, it also means that we're probably going to have to be a lot more savvy in the way that we talk about things going forward. Rather than just saying Palestine, we might have to resort to saying watermelon, for example. I've seen people on TikTok discuss the censorship that they're experiencing by talking about ice cream. So we're going to have to get creative if things get worse. But I mean, that's the state right now. I'll continue to update you as things happen.
Yeah, and I think it's very important that, like, if you want to make sure that we kind of out survive or outlast this censorship, then like we all kind of have to come together, right? Trump will do anything he is paid to do by any special interest. He's a lobbyist vending machine. Yep, exactly. A pure capitalist. Yeah, I mean, he's an oligarch. He is a capitalist. He is the perfect vessel for the capital class. The capital class doesn't give the capital class doesn't care about Trump's fascism. The capital class doesn't care about the racism or anything like that. They dropped the inclusivity language real quick. They don't care about any of that insofar as it pertains to whether or not supporting this or that makes them money. That's it. Yeah, grifter's gonna grift. Speaking of Trump, his deportation plan and his ice goons are wreaking havoc in PR. The island is scared at the moment. Holy, wow. I didn't even know that they could operate in. Well, I guess so because it's part of the territory. But like, what does ICE have to do in Puerto Rico? They like his grift because it allows them to do their dirty work while he entertains the crowds. The Trump dump truck. Actually, Live Trump really shows that anyone can make it big one day, even the uneducated, overweight, geriatric, talentless, and ugly. Very telling. Well, no, that's the thing though. Like, that's the thing though. Like, he's not just anyone, right? Like, he was the son of a very wealthy person. I know it's sarcasm, but anyways. Yeah, with a small loan of $1 million from his daddy. It's all happening so fast but it looks like anyone that looks like an immigrant is being detained and they're going town to town. That is freaking creepy, man. That is dystopic. That is dystopic. Right now, they've totaled like 900, over 900, 900 people that they've detained in various raids at this point. But man, that is dystopic, man. That is freaking very, 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 very freaking frightening, because man, let me tell you, we've seen that before in history. That's not a good thing. I didn't realize just how bad it was going on in Puerto Rico. I live in basically my state's version of Section 8 housing. We have a lot of immigrants, both legal and illegal. I don't see them walking about like they usually do. They don't go out and celebrate every weekend anymore. They even turn the lights off early and shut themselves in. Last night I heard a large bang and thought, this is it. I've gotten warnings saying my apartment could get raided. That's freaking scary, man. That's freaking scary. Scary stuff. Scary stuff. Maybe we've seen all of this before, just maybe not in our lifetimes. Yeah, we've seen what is it? What's the saying? History doesn't exactly repeat itself, but it often rhymes. Yeah. The 900 in a week might not be an unusual pace. It's where and how that's frightening. Gotcha. Well, let's just do a couple of stories here, and then we'll do. Let's just do a couple of stories, and then we'll do a meme article. Okay, just for the fun, because this is really freaking dark, man. Let me tell you. To be so scared that you don't know if your town or if your complex is gonna get raided, if your neighbor just might disappear one day, like that's the bad timeline, folks. That's the bad timelines. Not a coincidence it's happening after the greatest generation is gone. Liberals don't like the status quo being rocked, so they made excuses at every warning, saying, nah, this isn't a problem. Like it's like seeing mold in a house and saying it's okay because it's not like the house is ruined yet. That's actually a good point. Because like that doesn't happen overnight, you know. Even though like, yeah, that's actually a pretty good way of was it analogy? Anyways, yeah. And Frank Times hiding people. Yep. It's not a coincidence it's happened right after the greatest generation is gone. Mm-hmm. And what's really telling is that a lot of this is going to start in like the more liberal enclaves like Chicago and stuff like that, like because it's a fear tactic, right? I saw a talk show this morning telling people to make arrangements for your kids in case they pick you up. That's freaking scary, man. Like that's freaking scary, you know? Like that's being said as a public service announcement. Like, oh yeah, by the way, if you get like black bagged, okay, make sure that you have like a plan with your children, okay? Listen, in case you get disappeared, okay, on the way to work, okay? Unless you get stopped by the Gestapo and told, papers, please, and you make sure you have a plan for your kids. That's freaking wild, man, that we're just like, we're living through it. we're living through it. I also saw teachers being taught how to explain to kids in Spanish what's going on and what the rights and resources are. Yeah, it's wild. Wild. I feel very privileged to be white right now. Hey, as long as you don't ask what my name is, I can kind of hide my curly hair and just not go out for a couple days. As long as I don't have to talk about, as long as I don't say my name, I'm really sorry to hear what's happening over there. Sending solidarity from Ireland. Appreciate that. It is really crazy. You can process European Spanish. Don't worry, you're safe for now. That's exactly it. Because that's literally part of my ancestry. That's literally part of my ancestry. I'm half Iberian Peninsula and half like indigenous from that area, so you can take a wild guess as to how that happened. I feel very wise for not having moved to the US where my family is. Yeah, indeed. I'm reaching out to my Chinese friends just in case.
Let's listen to Joe Rogan, who also happens
Let's not, but okay.
to be a buddy of Elon Musk's, and
Seems
hanging out.
relevant because later in this clip, in the second part, he does seem to insinuate that they've spoken.
Oh, interesting.
My friend Kurt Metzger told me this. We were talking about the Elon gaffe, where he's like, my heart goes out to
Nah, Elon gaff. Like, let me stop you right there. Okay, that's not a freaking gaff, man. A gaff is like when you make an act. Like me, okay. When I go on stream, how many gaffes do I make on stream? Okay, like 10,000. Okay. A gaff is first of all something that like you misspoke. See, I just made a gaff like that. It is not a Nazi salute. Okay, that's not a gaff. That's not a gaff. Doing a Nazi salute twice in a row is not a mistake. Yeah, just a little quirky, a little silly boy. A little silly boy. A gaff is something you apologize for, even if it's not needed.
you.
So
Like, hey,
silly.
don't do that, though.
That's the perfect example of when you see a story, you
Yes.
believe it's true. If you believe he's a Nazi,
Right.
you're going to see him do a silly hand gesture and see that as that.
It's not a silly hand gesture. Like, dude, a silly hand gesture is like him waving his. A silly hand gesture is what he was doing before he got on stage, or he was like, shaking his hands, or when he does his little X jump. Okay, that's a silly hand gesture. Okay, like seriously. Get ready for the "My Heart Goes Out to You" being a new dog whistle. Yeah. Oh, come on, dude. What about his appearance in Germany for their far right? Oh, yeah, the AfD. Yeah, which, by the way, incidentally, I do have that queued up. Yeah, because it's not just the silly hand gestures. I'm just me. Yeah, jazz hands. That's a silly hand. That's a silly hand gesture. Okay. But yeah, this is not it. This guy wouldn't admit the truth even if it hit him in the face with a sea Kyle. Such BS. I didn't know his questionable connection with fascism in Europe until he did that. Yeah, and like the thing is, what's wild is that that's not even the first time. Okay? Like he's been praising the AFD even before he went on as a virtual guest. Everyone knows what a Nazi salute is, and it's offensive. Exactly. I do want to see the attempt from the neo-Nazis to be cultural and say it's not swastikas they have tattooed, but something just, yeah, I know, seriously. It's really just into Buddhist history. Everyone's going to be a historian all of a sudden with deep ties to problematic symbols on right-wingers. Yep.
Well, he's saying my heart goes
Right,
out to
to you.
But that is how the Nazis did it.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. This is what I found out
He
last
did it
night.
twice.
That's also how they used to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, really?
The Pledge of Allegiance used to be done like this.
Yeah, the Bellamy salute, man. That's not creepy at all, dude. Okay, like first of all, like, do you know how like weird and odd and bizarre it is to do a Pledge of Allegiance as a child, being indoctrinated into this like nationalistic kind of way of thinking, by literally pledging allegiance and raising your hand to the flag. Okay, like when we did it, when we did it, we didn't like do the Bellamy salute because like, you know, this was later down the roads. So for just know that during, at least here in my personal experience, we didn't do like the whole Bellamy salute or whatever. But we did recite the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of the school day. And that happened through most of my public school history, as far as I can tell. And I think like towards high school is when like they started kind of not do it anymore. I think it was like literally like the last half of high school is when that like stopped happening. To give you an idea of like how you know where I'm coming from. It's pretty dystopic, man. Like you're not making, it's not good. Okay, it's kind of weird, man. It's kind of weird. Yeah, we stopped for a reason, because Nazis. I used to do the Christian pledge too, hand over heart for both. We just put our hand over our heart and did the state salute, the New Mexico, and I'm not even 40. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we used to do that. Exactly. We used to do that. Exactly correct. We didn't do any kind of weird salute. Yeah, we used to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, and as a kid, it doesn't really hit, but as you start to cross over into like the teenage years, it starts to become a little weird. I don't know. It was a little bit weird for me. Right about the same time as I thought like religion was a little bit weird for me too. Yep. That's the Pledge of Allegiance, which is, again, bizarre. Yeah, I still remember it. Yep, same. Because I did it as a kid. Under God.
Until the Nazis came along, and then we switched it to this: your hand over your heart. So we cut out that part.
There's going to be a screen grab of you.
Well, there's already a screen grab. This was funny.
Pause it.
I also remember getting punished for not doing it starting around middle school. That's freaking creepy, man.
See, this is amazing that he is using this as some type of justification. There is no doubt that I'm sure that there was some type of salute like that. For the Pledge of Allegiance. In fact, the Nazi symbol wasn't always, the swastika was not always a swastika. It was an indigenous people design.
It's still used in certain parts of the globe.
Nazi uniforms? Well, they were based on Massachusetts State Trooper outfits. But we know now that the Nazis adopted this. The whole point of a salute, again, is to represent something. When you do this,
you're acknowledging power, right? Because you're saluting to whoever is above you, right? To a higher power. So when we did the salute, or when you do an army salute, you're saluting your superiors. I had to sing that stupid Proud to Be an American song after the Pledge of Allegiance in my South Florida school, and I hated it so much. I went to school in South Florida my entire life, and I'm so glad that was never a thing. That would be so freaking weird. Like, that would have probably, got me into politics even more younger. Some native tribes use a reverse swirl design meaning peace. You guys hear about the silver eagle statues Trump put on the fireplace mantle in the White House? Nothing subtle there. Yeah, I mean... have you seen, it's actually to salute the rank and not really the person wearing it. Ah. Well, the more you know. Actually, you know what, Cognizant, that actually, I didn't know that, Elwa, thank you. That reminds me, if you actually look at some, the Nazis took a lot of stuff from us, and that's not necessarily a good thing. But the Nazis did take a lot of stuff from us. If you look at their coins, they're like equivalent of our quarters and their quarters. It looks so bizarrely like the same. It's actually creepy. It's actually creepy just how like close the two quarter-shaped coins look like with the way it was made. It's just, man.
In the U.S. Army or in the military, you're indicating that there is a hierarchy that's going on. First person to do it, there's a hierarchy going on. We do this because this is this is our in group. And if it suddenly changed to, this, this would mean something different than it did 2 days ago, which is just like, nah. But if we switch this to, this is the way that you signal you're talking to a superior officer, the idea that this used to be nah, it's irrelevant because everybody now knows. So the idea that...
Is this the Michael Knowles segment? Good question. Is he going to go into Michael Knowles? I think this is just Joe Rogan. He did one earlier, though. He did one earlier. I was actually catching it. So that was today. So maybe they're going to put it up later. Joe Rogan is dumber than my pet turnip. I watched it live. I was in chat live, allegedly, supposedly. Some people might say that I was in chat during this thing.
Any given hand gesture can be innocent. Of course that's the case. But to go back in history and even imply, which of course this is, it's not a direct defense, but it's an implication that Elon Musk, as a child growing up in South Africa...
I was on break. So when did the Republicans in Congress reach breaking point, and how far will they follow Trump? It's done. It's done. There is no Republican Party. It's just Trump, right? Like there is no separation. Just to clarify what I'm saying is that there's no separation between the Republican Party and Trump, right? Like that's just the Republican Party. It is, and that's that. They can pretend that like, oh, well, I don't agree with President Trump. I think that he shouldn't do that. But they'll still vote for his agenda. They'll still support him, whatever his decisions. They'll turn themselves into pretzels to justify how they were criticizing Trump not like 5 months ago, and now they're all in lockstep with him. So yeah, I mean, like it's just the way it is. Joe Rogan is rich enough to have the luxury of being dumber than your pet turnip. Only 3 GOP senators didn't go with his POS Secretary of Defense. Honestly, I don't like this comparison because there's something to be said about not letting things be co-opted by the far right, as well as a convo about reclaiming things. I personally still use Pepe and I will never stop, but I also won't be told like Nordic stuff because of my skin color. That being said, you need to teach people the critical thinking, use other pointers to tell if someone's racist or fascist or Nazi. Like if you're using Pepe stuff and you're also joke a lot of Germany and are into alt history, some say, yeah, then it's suspect. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think that just because you use a Pepe that you're automatically a Nazi. I think that thankfully, specifically on that, it's been more or less reclaimed. Like, some of these, like, Pepe accounts on Twitter are absolutely Nazis. Some of the Pepe accounts on, Facebook and whatnot, like, they'll have, like, the Kek Pepe or whatever. Like, yeah, those are Nazis, but, like, we use Pepes here. We got a, pretty sure we have a couple. We have a couple of Pepes, but yeah, I don't think that just because you use that, or just because like you use a pagan symbol, right? Like a rune or something, doesn't mean that like that means like you're automatically like not like a Nazi, right? But If it gets weird, man, it's usually pretty easy to suss out. It usually becomes very, very apparent, right? What Pepe do I even have here? Do I even... I forget who I have in here. Do I have this one? No. No. Who do I have? I have to look at my BTTV emotes to see which Pepes I have, but yeah, anyways. The point being is, yeah, usually you can figure, usually they'll tell on themselves. You have lots on Discord. Yeah, there you go. But I have some here on BTTV. I'm pretty sure I do. Oh, you know which one I do have that no, it's not coming up. Whatever. I'm just playing around here. Anyways, yeah, the point being is to just to just kind of finish this. Yeah, just using certain things, like, not necessarily, it doesn't always mean that you're a Nazi. What is BTTV? I thought 7TV was the standard. I don't even know that 7TV existed, okay? I think it's like this. Look, I'm kind of a boomer when it comes to some of this stuff, so, you're just gonna have to bear with me. And there's also Frankerface. There you go. Hypers, there you go. I like the Copium one. List of Pepes for ADT. There you go. Copium. I like this one. There you go. Anyways.
And I would say, because he's got to be younger than me, Elon Musk, right? He's
in his early 50s.
He's in his early 50s. He did not grow up at a time where the Pledge of Allegiance, you would stick your hand out like that, because I didn't. And he was not in America, so he did not do the Pledge of the Allegiance to the U.S. flag.
I mean, yeah, his family, they come from all around. His grandparents, according to his father, who were members of the Canadian Nazi Party, who liked Hitler and went to South Africa because they liked the apartheid there. That's according to Elon Musk's own father. But this is what Rogan is stripping it of all context, saying, oh yeah, but prior to the Nazis, they made it. No, that's because context matters, right? And now he goes into the personal agreement piece. This is what the two arguments they have here is to flatten the context, don't believe your lying eyes, and then also, they're always coming after us conservatives.
Be a screen grab if you do. Well, there's already a screen grab. This was funny. CNN, during the COVID times in particular, whenever I get in trouble, the photo they would use of me was me at the UFC weigh-ins. So when I do the weigh-ins, I announce the weigh-ins. I say, welcome to the weigh-ins, everybody. I'm waving to the crowd. That's what they did. So they would use this photo of me to try to make it look like I was some sort of a Nazi.
Whatever.
Nah, man. Listen, bro. Waving to a crowd is very obvious when you have the video evidence, okay? Like, this is the same kind of like BS argument that like some of these right-wing clowns have put up, where they put like still shots of like Democratic politicians, waving to the crowd and saying like, see, that's the same thing. No, man. No, man. My favorite is People Shy.
Ever. Because I'm waving to the crowd, and they take a freeze frame of it.
Yeah, like, that's not what happened. There was video of Elon Musk doing it twice.
Right.
I'm here to help. Nothing more, nothing less. I share every trade I make completely for free. I live stream on Twitch.
Twice.
Scam alert.
And not just like it wasn't a gesture. It was a slap it off. Like, he's just got an awkward way of going like, I give you my heart. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Nobody buys this,
but
man. Like no rational person who knows what they're looking at buys this. Okay, even if you're not like a super super duper leftist. Okay, come on, man. Like, come on. Okay. Of the clips and takes about Elon's salute, there's an out clip context of Jenk sounding damn near impressed by it. Jarig has a great satire on it, and there's this German YouTuber that did a funny ramble about it. Those conclusions is really not that good. Oof.
If you go to that second part, Bradley, I don't really care about Rogan's victim complex as a multi-millionaire, because every defender of Elon is doing the exact same thing that he's saying right now. They're posting a photo of Elizabeth Warren waving and pretending it's a signal.
See, exactly. That's exactly what I just said. It's dishonest. It's disgusting, and it's meant to downplay what actually happened. Right? It's to sanitize fascism. Okay, that's what's going on here. Okay, anybody that's doing that, including Joe Rogan, okay, what they're doing is preparing the normies and preparing a general audience who say like listens to the largest podcast on the world, try to sanitize this. There's no other reason except that. Waving to the crowd is different than transitioning your hand from covering your heart to pointing it straight out above shoulder height. Right, yeah. Like, dude, there's no... Exactly, Cognizant. There's no if, and, or buts about it. This is not a awkward little gesture that he did. This is not this is nothing to do with any type of neurodivergence. This has nothing to do with nothing, Elon's just being an epic edgelord. Dude, it doesn't matter, man. I saw what I saw. You saw what you saw. We all saw it, okay?
Kale. They're posting a photo of AOC waving and pretending it's a signal. No one's posting the video. No one would have if I would have defended Rogan if there were all of these CNN outlets calling him a Nazi and just posting the still, and then you find out that it was him waving. No. We know what we saw. And like all of this defense of him precedes him basically revealing here that they've been speaking.
Longtime, first-time claims they never did the Nazi salute for the pledge. It was proposed, but the proposed gesture ended with the hand up, and it never made it into the flag code for obvious reasons. And Bullprog makes the point, Kaepernick wasn't kneeling. He was saying he would propose marriage to the flag, the anthem, because he loves America so much. Go ahead.
Right.
How's Elon handling this whole... he's probably like, what the...
Yeah, he was definitely what the fuck. And he was happy that the ADL, of all people, defended him.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, well, it's...
No, it's not. What the fuck? No, it's not. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. Nobody, like, within... Anyone who has any kind of rationale and is reasonable would look at this and be like, hey, that's a Nazi salute, man. What's that about? You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows. We all saw it, okay? Like, there's no if, and, or buts about it. The only people that are defending this are people that are Nazi sympathizers or Nazis themselves, okay? That's it. The ADL has been really taking L's lately with their takes. No kidding. Like, straight up. Like, this is Nazi apologia, okay? If you are downplaying this on purpose, then you are either a Nazi or a Nazi sympathizer, or fascist sympathizer. Okay, that's it. That's the only two kind of people that are going to sit here and try to defend what we all saw and put into context that this isn't even new. Okay? Hello? He's literally speaking at, like, the far-right party in Germany in favor of them. He has tweeted in the past, his support for the far-right party in Germany, who incidentally had to have a little Nazi escapade in Sweden because they can't do that shit in Germany. But they had their little Nazi powwow in Sweden. You know, like, these people are as Nazi gets, okay? And I'm not, like, being hyperbolic. Like, they literally got caught doing a little Nazi powwow in Switzerland not 1 month ago, okay? Not 1 month ago. I'm not kidding. This literally just happened. Okay? Again, no, not a coincidence. This is happening after the Greatest Generation has passed. If this happened 10 to 20 years ago, it would have been a senior citizen uprising. No matter how tech unsavvy they were, they would have just learned to just respond. I think people are having a problem seeing Musk as the same as Hitler or Nazis because he's rich and successful and doesn't come off as just going, my race is better than X. Better, and I hate X group. Can't say it because Twitch blocked me. He's more of a fascist who flirts with Nazis for his support, which isn't much better, but people want to believe that's not the case. It's easier to swallow than, yeah, as rich, successful guys, as horrible as with my grandpa fought against, or is helping those people rise again. Right. Right, and, like, that's the thing, though. Like, he's spent so much time and capital to build this image of some kind of, like, Tony Stark tech bro, man. I just want to save humanity and bring humans to Mars, whatever. Like, he's spent so much capital and time, so much so that's just how people see him mostly. And now this is where we're at. You know.
Obvious.
Posit, actually, what's more obvious is at one point about a year ago, Elon Musk said, you know what? Maybe your organization needs some funding. Mm-hmm. And the ADL's ability to be an arbiter for any of this stuff has always been suspect, but now it's just absolutely out the window.
And maybe, Israel, do you need some intelligence assistance or satellites for your military campaigns?
First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for Jewish people, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. Yeah, I mean, like, yep.
I'll be down for that. I'm one of the Pentagon's biggest contractors.
History doesn't repeat itself exactly, but it often rhymes.
I'm not an anti-Semite. I've got cold hard cash for you to commit genocide.
Here's anti-establishment Joe Rogan continuing to carry water for the world's richest man.
Defended him.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, well, it's obvious. Like anybody, but all these people on Twitter are just chiming in, saying it's clearly a Nazi salute. He's doing a Nazi salute. Yeah. No.
So dumb.
It's so dumb.
It's not clearly.
Yeah, it's crazy. The whole thing's crazy. But that's a sign of the times, and they couldn't.
A sign of the times? What are you talking about, bro? Terrible things are happening outside at any time of night and day. Poor helpless people are being dragged out of their homes. They're allowed to take only a knapsack and little cash with them. And even then, they're robbed of those possessions on the way. Families are torn apart. Men, women, and children are separated. Children come home from school to find that their parents have disappeared. You know, if you didn't tell me that was an Anne Frank quote, I literally would have thought that you were talking about an ICE raid. Like, if you didn't tell me that was an Anne Frank quote, and you just kind of put that out there as like a random, like, no context quote, I literally would have thought like that was some kind of like ICE raid that happened last week. Like, I'm telling you, man, this is the bad times, folks. This is a bad timeline. He's just Justin Hammer if we're doing Marvel comparisons. Exactly. Evil will triumph if good people do nothing, organize, and fight fascism. Correct. Like, just to be clear, this is not a just surrender and there's nothing we can do, and the bad times are here and just like there's nothing we can do. No, it's quite the opposite. Like, the energy that we are feeling with anger and despair and fear, okay, because it's okay to be scared, okay. I think a lot of us kind of have that underneath, but it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel despair. But all of that needs to kind of be channeled and harnessed, because we're gonna need that energy. Okay, together is how we survive.
Didn't help it. They saw a thing and they're like, this is we're going to run with it. He's clearly showing he's a Nazi. The Trump's in office and he's a Nazi, and fascism is real, folks. Here it is. My heart goes out to you.
Yeah, we got it. It's
My
hilarious.
heart goes out to you.
So I know people have forgotten this, but there was a Madison Square Garden rally that preceded the election by a few weeks that caused a ton of controversy because of a bunch of racist comments that were made there about Puerto Rican people in particular. It was an obvious homage to the Bund. That's what it was called, the Bund rally of American Nazis at Madison Square Garden. They were trying to evoke it.
Yeah, and people were like, and by people I mean like the media and like conservative pundits and like some, they were trying to downplay it, saying like, oh, you guys are going way too overboard. Everyone that you disagree with is a Nazi. No, man, this shit's here, okay? And this is the Cassandra syndrome. I'm telling you, the Cassandra syndrome. We've been calling this stuff out for quite a while. And now that it's here, now that it's here, but in fact didn't commit a crime by entering our country illegally. Conservative, probably, because remember, being born on one side of an arbitrary line should define everything about your life: income inequality, income level, ability to travel, ability to get education, ability to seek shelter, and freedom and justice. True. Just these magical arbitrary lines that literally define your life.
Pretend like they're not in public, and then they snicker about it behind the scenes in private. The exact same thing that these 4chan groypers are saying secretly in response to Elon's salute.
Yeah, and you can just go on Twitter. Or if you if you want to go to see like the reactions on Telegram, you can do that. If you want to go to say the bad place, 4chan, you could see that these people are acting in the affirmative. Okay, they saw what they saw, and they were like based. Okay, so like I don't know, man. I don't know. If at any point anything that I'm doing, whether it's a gesture, whether it's my way of speaking, maybe my rhetoric, if at any point anything about me inspires Nazis to be like based, then I'm doing something wrong, and some deep introspection is needed, like ASAP. Okay. If I ever did anything or said anything or wore something or did a symbol or had a symbol that would make Nazis on 4chan be like base, then like, yeah, man, some serious mistakes were made, and some serious introspection is needed to figure out why that happened. Because like, no, man, none of this is a freaking coincidence or mistake, I should say. Yeah, Nazis really like what he did, man. Exactly. I remember when Nazis were the bad guys. We will let you know, no worries. Exactly. And I guess, like, that's the thing, though, right? Like, an audience, like, being part of a more broad, left-leaning audience. Oh, yeah, that'll be real quick, which is a good thing, right? Because, like, that's, it should be immediate and fast. I agree with not using the term Nazi too loosely. Nazis were Nazis, and what we have now are MAGAs. They have yet to show us their worst face, but things like that continue, and that's when we can co-sign MAGAs to the same bookshelf as Nazis. I mean, to me, it's like it's already there, right? Like, to me, it's already there because, like, you know, it's not exactly like the Nazis in the 1920s or whatever, but like, it's a modern version of it, right? Because like you can't just go around like having like paramilitaries parade your streets and round up people, like not quite like it was, you know, but like, man, I mean, like, this is as close to get. It's like the AFD is not like the Nationalist Socialist Party. It's the Alternative for Germany Party, right? But like, come on, you know? Yeah, like, you know, if you want to be like more rigid with the nomenclature, then like, I think like fascist is kind of just encompasses everything, because it's not like it's not a specific fascist, but it's like this broad fascist ideology that's like spreading. You know, it's broadly speaking like incredibly fascistic. You know, there's in that movement, in the MAGA movement, there's several flavors of fascist. Some are just straight up Nazis, like Nick Fuentes, for example. Some are just kind of like the more generic fascist. They just believe in like this nationalistic ideology. But like, you know what I mean? There are fascists using New Age fascist techniques to do the same thing the Nazis were trying to do. This they'll be there once you are deported to Venezuela for whatever reason you think you should be. Huh. Wait, that was an Anne Frank quote? I thought it was current day. Yeah, I know. It's freaking creepy, man. It's freaking creepy, Wolf Glenn. That like if the quote that Echo Rasta Dragon put was, if they didn't put that without Anne Frank's name, it could literally have been like a quote that happened last week. Like literally, like you could, if you were to tell me that somebody said that in a news interview, in a news segment, in a local news segment in Chicago, then like, damn. So that's just to like give you an idea of like where we're at, kind of. It's not cool. It's not great. It's not awesome. One could even say it's not poggers. Hazemaker, welcome. It's gonna get a little worse every day, literally every day. Cool. I don't disagree, to be honest.
He knows what he was doing. He never did "My heart goes out to you" with that emphasis and clarity in other contexts. He wanted to do that in front of the presidential seal of the United States in this country. And as AOC has been saying, like there's a few foundational things for her politics. In her response, she was saying, we hate the Confederates and we hate the Nazis in this country. And, there are still World War II veterans that are alive here. And I think it's disgusting that a billionaire thought it would be really cheeky and cute for him to go up there.
Epic meme lord, bro. Epic edgelord, Keck, man. Oh, God, this is so freaking frustrating. I think people hesitate to use certain terms as a tendency to want to associate the term with the after effects. You're right. It looks like they're trying to use the same playbook. I'm just waiting to see who will follow through with the worst they can think of. Yeah, it also just like what levels of incompetence and like how organized these fascists are going to be. Because, I mean, it's quite possible that with luck on our side, these people just are not able to accomplish what they really want to accomplish, right? Like your Stephen Millers, because it's just like, it's Trump's show, right? At the end of the day, It's Trump's show, and if for some reason, like, he appoints the wrong person, and things get, the ball gets dropped, and like they win, or rather they lose crucial lawsuits, like, I mean, like, hey, the worst could be potentially avoided, but I just think that it's better to kind of just take these people, the threat that these people pose, like, as at their worst, if that makes sense. Now, before they're even able to do what they theoretically and hypothetically would love to do, if they get the chance. Does that make sense? In 15 years, we went really fast from the left, going too far with things like rad femmes and cancel culture, and some stupid social media newspeak. And now we're just going to be to the right, going just to be with radical with deporting citizens. Yeah, repeat, like, I know, right? Like, oh, that is so frustrating. How we got caught, how we got called the radical people that are going to destroy society by canceling Roseanne and wanting people to not be a-holes to each other. And now, like, people are literally getting, like, deported for no reason. We have a veteran that was stopped and detained by the Gestapo, who's an American citizen, right? Because, papers, please. And they didn't buy the ID that he had, which was a completely valid ID, a military ID. Like, this is just wild. I mean, it's wild. Tan or just POC? Good question. Oh, he was a brown person. He was a Hispanic. He was a Hispanic person, according to the reports. Yeah, she canceled herself. Yeah, glad the centrists really felt great by staying in the middle of both of these outcomes. If Trump was not famous, that shade of orange would have gotten him deported.
Do that kind of symbol, let alone the number of American Jews and other people who have been victimized by neo-Nazi ideology and just the literal Nazis. It's just gross. And I guess if you want billionaire PR now, you go to Joe Rogan's podcast.
Of course. Yeah. Rogan's going to be, going to be carrying Elon Musk's water. Hey, folks, once again, Trump's personnel pick.
Yeah, so I think this is a ad for ground level news. Okay, so we got like maybe one more article, and then we'll do like a funny story, just because. Yeah, so kind of just to finish this conversation with Elon Musk here. Elon has speaks at Germany's AfD campaign launch as thousands of protest the far-right party. The American tech billionaire Elon Musk made a surprise address at the campaign launch for Germany's Alternative for Germany party as thousands of people gathered around across the country to protest the rise of the far-right party. Musk, who spoke to the crowd in a live video, was met with huge cheers by roughly 4,500 supporters. Nazi supporters gathered inside the hall of Eastern German city of Halle on Saturday. While speaking with the party leader, Alice Wido, AFD's candidate for chancellor, Musk reiterated his belief that AFD is Germany's best hope in the upcoming election. So that's what Musk thinks about them. Germany, Europe's largest economy, is heading for snap elections in February after Chancellor Olaf Scholz lost a vote of confidence and its governing coalition collapsed after months of instability. The AFD has seen an upswell in support, recently becoming the first far-right party to win a state election in Germany since the Nazi era. Red flag. And performing well in opinion polls for the upcoming election. At the same time, the party has been criticized for launching staunch anti-immigration stances. All of Germany's mainstream politician parties have said that they will not work with the AFD. Good. So, yeah, I mean, like, these are, again, the same people who are having secret little Nazi powwows in Sweden. So, like, yeah, man, fuck these people. Musk, a close ally of President Trump, stressed the importance that people must take pride in Germany and being German, a sentiment that was met with rapturous cheers at the AFD rally. So, like, yeah, man, yeah, this is about as Nazi as it gets, right? Like, you know, just to be clear, like, he's not talking about, like, oh, you should be proud of your country. No, man, given the context and who he's talking to, it's very obvious what he means by you should be proud of Germany and being proud of it being a German, right? Like, it's pretty obvious what the context is here, and it's very, very scary. The billionaire also addressed the issue of immigration, a key issue in the election, urging Wido and her supporters not to lose their national pride in some kind of multiculturalism that dilutes everything. Hoo boy, yeah, I think that's like everything that I need to see there. Meanwhile, tens of thousands of Germans protested in Berlin and other cities against the far-right party. In western Germany of Cologne, police estimated a crowd of 40,000 people were demonstrating, according to the AP. About 35,000 protesters gathered at Berlin's iconic Brandenburg Gate, according to the police estimates, where they sang anti-fascist songs, carried banners denouncing the AFD, and displayed illuminated letters spelling hope and resistance. Based. I have pointed out that this one to me in CPAC staged the shape of the Nazi symbol 4 years ago. Oh yeah, the crap, what is it? The something rune? Yeah. Older rune. Right. So again, like, this isn't like, oh, we like paganism, right? And we want to have a deep dive into like the history about paganism, about Nordic religion, and we want to have like an awesome like historical like context as to what what these runes mean and where they came from and the history behind it. Nah, man, come on. Don't know if I should be ashamed that I've learned German or think of it as an advantage with the new regime. At least they aren't brainwashed yet. But the involvement of Musk, the world's richest man and the owner of the social media platform Twitter, has also been met with apprehension among government leaders in Europe. The UK, okay, like, this is already nothing that we need. Nope, that symbol was on the uniforms. Right, like, just to be clear, like, runes and things like that, like, they aren't, like, there's no, it's kind of weird, unless you're trying to make a statement to put that on, a stage, right? Like, you know what I mean? And it's not a coincidence either. That wasn't a mistake. That was intentional. And the purpose behind it was intentional. I mean, like, man. Oh, man, come on. Okay, well, we'll just, I guess, do this real quick. I'm sorry, but this is incredibly funny, okay? I'm sorry, but this is incredibly funny to me, and like we need to take our laughs where we want to, where we can, because like this is wild. These are wild times. So a brief moment to just kind of laugh at this absurdity, like, and mind you, like, the reason that this person made the purchase of a six-figure car, okay, is because it has an auto drive feature, because she drives a lot to her patients as a psychologist, instead of, like, I don't know, man, pacing yourself out and maybe not supporting a Nazi. I don't know, man. Like, it doesn't matter what I had to do. If my work required me to drive all this much to the point where like I had to have a self-driving car because I'm driving too much, then, like, I don't know, man, consider like pacing yourself, consider having like virtual meetings, consider whatever you need to do, because A, that's not good, and B, like, why would you do that? It just sounds like cope because you wanted a Tesla. Or, okay, why not get a cheaper version of an auto-driving car, or buy it secondhand so Tesla gets no money. Get a driver. Yeah, exactly. Get a driver with the $100,000 you dropped on this. Cash, by the way. Cash, because she literally saved up for it and bought it cash. Just to be clear. Then you probably could afford a driver. Those Cybertrucks are ugly in real life. They are. I don't know about you, but you couldn't pay me enough to be their patient. Maybe get a new job. Yeah, or pace yourself, man. Why are you driving thousands of miles or to the point of physical exhaustion? That sounds bad, okay? Like, I'm not even gonna, like, why this much? To the point where you felt the need, like, it's just so bizarre, because, like, you know, first of all, like, how many patients do you have that you would be needing to be driving all day? And two, it's wild that you decided to put all this money into one car. Have you seen the population distribution of Arizona? It's like, what, one city and like a bunch of rural places? In 2024, a few months after my Model 3 lease ended, I knew I wanted to purchase my next car. Since the vehicle is technically for my business, I needed it to be a specific tax code. Yeah, you know what? Like, lol. Lamau even, okay? Lamau, okay? The Cybertruck was the only one that fit the bill, because it was $100 and something $1,000. Auto insurance on a Cybertruck is $600 to $800 per month. Whew. What? Per month? I understand the need for self-driving tech, and I hate to say it, but Tesla does have the most advanced self-driving tech for the moment, but I agree with a lot of stuff that you're saying. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not even like ragging on her because she needed, you know, the self-driving tech or whatever. Like, it's just like, this is the tell, right? Like, this is the tell for me. This is the tell for me. It's so heavy it's a write-off and it can be depreciated yearly. It's so heavy it is farm equipment in the tax code. The Model Y, in my opinion, would have been better for her. Yeah, maybe you can pretend that you got the Tesla before you knew who this guy really was. Can we go through r/leopards ate my face for some cathartic release? It should be a regular segment. Oh my god. Maybe to break up the stuff once in a while. That is why folks get really, really heavy vehicles. Gotcha. Unfortunately, the Cybertruck draws a lot of attention. Yeah, man, because it turns out that like the dude's a Nazi and is doing Nazi shit. So, yeah, a Cybertruck is just for the memes. Yeah, just for the memes and, you know, a tax write-off. Yeah, so, incredible stuff. I found that pretty freaking funny. Also, we need better tires for EVs. I don't know. A little bit cathartic. Self-driving is bad and dumb. You don't need a computer to badly imitate a human driver ever. Hire a cab or employ a private driver. If you can't drive yourself in public transit, train will work for you route. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. Let's see, what should we do here? Hey, Bonzilla, thank you for the tier 1 sub. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm pretty sure most of you have already heard about this, but we all know that this was when they talk about like you know, DEI stuff, like they really just mean eliminating the roles of marginalized people. I would get on my hands and knees for a good rail system. God knows the Cascadia one is probably dead in the water now. And Elon's not autistic. People saying it's Nazi issues because of ASD wants to make me cry. I know, Mouselander. And you know what? Like, you know, as I said before, like, it's you know, even if he provides like physical proof, it still just doesn't justify it. Like, neurodivergent people aren't just Nazis because they're neurodivergent, right? No form of neurodivergency it just like automatically makes you a Nazi, right? Like, that's like the people who are saying this like are freaking disgusting and ableist at the same time, because like the implication is like, you know, that neurodivergent people have Nazi tendencies, right? Because they said the same thing about Kanye. They're like, oh, it's just his bipolar, or it's just, you know, he's going through a mental like episode or whatever. Nah, man. No, bro. Like, neurodivergence of any type does not make you do Nazi shit. I'm sorry. Like, and that is incredibly disgusting and ableist in and of itself. I freaking hate that from an actual autistic person. It's bad faith. The sentence is straight copy pasta from years and years ago. Are psychopaths neurodivergent? That's a good question. Like, would you consider that? I don't know. But even being like diagnosed like sociopath or diagnosed psychopath like doesn't automatically make you a Nazi ? You know, it's like a very specific diagnosis, right? So like I don't know, man. It's just really, 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 really disgusting that people that people do that, because that's ableist in and of itself. Autistic here and have never done a Nazi salute, right? All right, give me 1 second, folks. I need to take this jacket off. It's starting to get warm in here. I have my little heater going on, and now that the room or this studio is nice and warm, I'm getting too toasty. I'm getting too toasty. I'm staying too warm. Yeah. So when conservatives and Republicans or the GOP talk about removing or taking on DEI, this is what they mean. This is what they mean. My family's even from Germany. Further proof, okay, that being neurodivergent, a German or otherwise, doesn't mean you're automatically just like inclined to do a Sieg Heil, right? Like, this is just wild. More DEI fallout. Air Force scraps course that use videos of the Tuskegee Airmen and female World War II pilots. The Air Force has removed training courses with videos of its storied Tuskegee Airmen and women Air Force service pilots, or WASPs, the female World War II pilots who were vital in ferrying warplanes to the military, to comply with Trump's administration's crackdown on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. The videos were shown to Air Force troops as part of DEI course they took during basic military training. In a statement, the Air Force confirmed these courses with those videos have been removed and will willfully execute and implement directives outlined by the executive order issued by the president, ensuring that they are carried out with the utmost professionalism, efficiency, and alignment with the national security objectives. Right, sticking it to black people and women and their roles in history. Cool. Thanks. Elon Musk made it up. He is not diagnosed. Tell me the richest person in the world couldn't inform a formal test. I don't disagree. I mean, like, it's quite possible that he's really not. I just, I mean, he is known to be the proficient liar. Well, not proficient, prolific liar, I guess is the word. My 33-year-old daughter who lives at home is neurodivergent. There are times when I am tired. It is hard to the process. I understand why MAGA folks would lose their fecal matter. How I love her and she has made my life richer. However, I love her and she has made my life richer. He isn't. It's his business, and people need to stop other diagnosing. The problem may not be with historical videos themselves, but that they were used in Air Force basic military training DEI coursework. However, the lack of clear guidelines has sent the Air Force and other agencies scrambling to take the broadest approach of what content is removed to make sure they are in compliance. Yep. Autism, last time I checked, is the DSM years ago is a broad, also known as wobbly validity, but that doesn't excuse scapegoating a community for the actions of one man. Correct. Like, again, even if he was or isn't neurodivergent in any way, whether it be what we colloquially known as autism or whatever else he claims to be, it doesn't matter, right? Elon's named after a Nazi. Given that his parents, his grandparents were part of the Canadian Nazi Party or affiliated with the Canadian Nazi Party or supporters of the Canadian Nazi Party, that wouldn't surprise me. The only thing I can say for sure is Elon has a deficiency in empathy. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Elon could just be the result of rich folks not raising their child well. Psychopath. His grandparents. Okay, yeah. His grandparents were party members, supporters, sympathizers of the Canadian Nazi Party. So that would not surprise me. That would not surprise me. The Tuskegee Airmen, known as the Red Tails, were the nation's first black military pilots who had served in a segregated World War II unit, and their all-black 33 Fighter Group was one of the lowest loss records of all bomber escorts in the war. So do psychopaths. They flew P-47 Thunderbolts, P-51 Mustangs, and other aircraft fighters to escort American bombers on dangerous missions over Germany. Before the fighter escorts began accompanying the slow and heavy U.S. bombers, losses were catastrophic due to getting dive-bombed and strafed by German aircraft. In a statement late Saturday, the Tuskegee Airmen Inc., of the nonprofit foundation created to preserve the legacy of these pilots, said it strongly opposed to the removal of the videos to comply with Trump's order. The stories of the Tuskegee Airmen and WASPs are an essential part of American history and carried significant weight in World War II veteran community. We believe that the content of these courses does not promote one category of service member or citizen over another. They are simply a part of American military history that all service members should be made aware of. Right, and that's the point, right? This isn't some oh man, anti-woke stuff, bro. No, man, you're just erasing black people and women. That's what this is about. Imagine serving a country that still segregates you in combat. His grandparents moved to apartheid South Africa because they liked the racism so much. Yep, even the empathy thing. Many of us with autism are hyper empaths. The opposite. Yeah, I mean, in 2020, I don't disagree. Oh, come on. Oh, I guess it's not working. Oh, there it is. I don't disagree. It's just that, I just don't know, is what I'm saying. In 2020, in the State of the Union address, Trump announced that he had promoted one of the last surviving Tuskegee Airmen, Charles McGee, to Brigadier General. McGee died in 2022 at the age of 102. The WASP contributed to World War II by learning to fly and ferry new bombers off the assembly lines to airfields where they were needed to ship off to war, freeing up male pilots to focus on combat missions. They earned the rights to be buried in Arlington Cemetery just in the last decade. The Air Force, like other branches, have recently tried to broaden the number of people they reach to consider military careers like aviation that historically have been few minority members, service members in their ranks. So yeah, I mean, the point being is that this is not about being anti-woke or whatever, not being anti-PC. This is just erasing black people and women out of the contributions that they did during that time. So, yeah. Expect more of that, folks. Expect more of that. Trump expected to sign executive orders to reshape the military, including banning of transgender troops. President Trump on Monday today is expected to sign 4 executive orders that would reshape the military, including banning trans service members from serving in the armed forces, gutting the military's diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, and reinstating with back pay service members who were discharged or refusing to get vaccinated from COVID-19. Two white House officials told CNN. The orders, which were first reported by the New York Post, come as Trump's nominee to lead the Pentagon, Pete Hegseth, was sworn in as Secretary of Defense on Saturday. Hegseth has long stated that he planned to implement major cultural changes, red flag, to the military, including ending DEI practices and removing, quote, woke service members, question mark. Moments after the arrival of the Pentagon on Monday, Hegseth told reporters that there are more executive orders coming. Sounds like white fragility to me. The anti-trans law they propose inadvertently makes everyone female. Vaccinations are mandatory and can't refuse and be let in. Yep. So what kind of military are we going to have now? Scary stuff. Yep. Today, there are more executive orders coming on removing DEI inside the Pentagon, reinstating troops who were pushed out because of COVID mandates, Iron Dome for America. What? And as a how much does the Iron Dome cost? Just out of curiosity. And as Secretary of Defense, it's an honor to salute smartly as I did as a junior officer and now as a Secretary of Defense. Like salute like Elon did. Just asking. To ensure that these orders are complied with rapidly and quickly. Trump had banned trans Americans from serving in the military in 2017 during his first administration, but then President Biden issued an order repealing that ban. Hours after being sworn in for a second term last week, Trump signed an order revoking Biden's administration's 2021 move to allow trans members to serve. However, the order Trump is expected to sign on Monday goes even further, one official said, and will outline new military standards regarding gender and pronouns and state that the mental and physical readiness requires trans members service members to be banned from the military. That's so freaking disgusting, man. It can take a minimum of 12 months for an individual to complete treatments after transition surgery, which often involves the use of heavy narcotics. I feel like this is a little... I feel like we're stretching the truth here. That's like saying, like, oh, a person that has... I don't know, like... has undergone like extensive knee surgery is now ineligible because they're going to require the heavy use of narcotics, and it's just like normal pain medications. You know what I mean? Like, okay, dudes, whatever. I feel like a little bit of the truth is being stretched here. During this period, they are not physically capable or meeting military readiness and requirements and require ongoing medical care. It's not conducive for the deployment or readiness requirements, one of the officials said, citing a fact sheet. Okay. The implementations of the ban is on DoD regarding specifics. The official said in 2018 there was an estimated 14,000 transgender service members in the U.S. military. An independent research institute that has concluded extensive research on sexual minorities in the military. How large is the actual military? Like hundreds of thousands, right? And we're talking like, what? Less than 10% or 10% of the military? Okay, dudes. They're trying to demonize people. Yep. Appendicitis. Yeah, like if you had like a surgery, and you were given pain mitigation pills, like you wouldn't say that you're taking heavy narcotics, right? Like that language is on purpose. A Pentagon memo detailing the ban during Trump's first term in office recommended making exceptions for trans service members already serving in uniform who had joined the military under previous policies before the ban took effect, those who do not require a change in gender, and those who had been stable for 36 consecutive months in their biological sex prior to accession. Cool. Phenomenal stuff happening. It's unclear whether the administration's new ban will also have exceptions. Asked about possible exceptions on Monday, Hegseth said that only there will be executive order on that right now today. The second executive order states that any discriminatory policies related to DEI in the military will be banned. The order comes after Trump's administration ordered employees in any federal diversity, equity, and inclusion and accessibility offices to be placed on administrative leave effective immediately. All DEI practices in the U.S. Armed Forces will also be subject to an internal review by Hegseth. The third executive order directs Hegseth to reinstate all active and reserve members who were previously discharged after failing to get the COVID vaccine. They will be reinstated with their former rank and given back pay and benefits, one of the officials said. However, the Pentagon has already rescinded the military's COVID vaccination mandate, allowing them to rejoin after Biden signed the National Defense Authorization Act, requiring that change. As of Monday, 113 of more than 8,000 service members who were discharged in the military for refusing the vaccine have sought to since the vaccine mandate was officially repealed. And a fourth order would begin the process of creating the next generation missile defense shield for the U.S., according to a fact sheet on the order obtained by CNN. Like, why? Who asked for this? Like, why? Who asked for this? Who is who is like on our shores ready to attack us that we would need a quote Iron Dome for the United States. The order calls for an Iron Dome for America, borrowing the name for the vaunted short-range Israeli missile defense system that for years has been used to intercept launches from Gaza. The U.S. provided billions of dollars in funding for the Iron Dome, and the Army has its own system. The executive order directs the implementation of a next-generation missile defense shield for the United States against ballistics, hypersonic, and advanced cruise missiles, and for next-generation aerial attacks. The fact sheet reads, calling such potential attack as a catastrophic threat, though none of these types of weapons have been launched against the territory of the United States in modern warfare. Like, seriously. This executive order calls for an advanced space-based series of systems to detect and shoot down launches against the United States. It doesn't say how much the shield would cost or outline a timeline for its deployment. Cool. One second, folks. We have one more story to go. I think this one's rather important, not because it's going to pass, nor do I foresee this being like implemented as of right now. Because the way this works is it's just not, there's no path for this to be actually workable. But the point of bringing this up is like, this is where we're at, where we're trying to get we're trying to circumvent democratic means by just subverting the way things work here completely. Constitutional amendment to allow Trump a third term introduced in the House. A Republican House member introduced a resolution on Thursday, this was previous Thursday, I believe, to amend the U.S. Constitution to allow President Trump and any other future president to be elected to a third term in the White House. Like, I wonder, like, if any member of the media that has any spine that's still left has asked this person if it was okay if, say, like, now that this, let's say, like, hypothetically, this amendment gets adopted, right? Then if that would be okay if, say, like Obama ran for a third term, right? You know, and then these people would flip out. What did you just say? Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that we're talking about in the House of Representatives. Not that this has any path, because it requires a lot for a constitutional amendment to be actually adopted. It takes a lot. But my point being is that, like, this is the kind of stuff that these people are thinking about. Could be bad. Bush could run. Yep, exactly. Trump has proven himself to be the only figure in modern history capable of reversing our nation's decay and restoring America to greatness, and he must be given the time necessary to accomplish that goal. This is explicitly fascistic rhetoric. This is explicitly fascist rhetoric. Said Representative Andy Ogles of Tennessee, who proposed extending the current maximum of 2 elected terms. Ogles' resolution is tailored specifically to permit Trump to serve a third term, but not to allow 3 out of 4 living presidents to serve a third term. Oh, yeah, no. I'm sorry. They specifically wrote it so that Obama and Bush cannot run again. Yeah, this is specifically for Herr Trump. Okay, for the dear leader. This is specifically for the dear leader. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have jumped the gun. Yeah, row for me, not for thee. Iron Dome system is for defending against short-range missiles. Canada and Mexico aren't going to be firing those, and guided missile destroyers can deploy hundreds of kilometers outside that envelope. They're launching faster missiles. Yep. That person needs a proctologist to help extract them from Trump's side. No person shall be elected to the office of president more than 3 times, nor be elected to any additional term after being elected 2 consecutive terms. The former presidents Bill Clinton and Bush and Barack Obama all served 2 consecutive terms and thus would be barred from being elected to a third term. But not Trump, who was the first president since Grover Cleveland to be elected to a second non-consecutive term. It is imperative that we provide President Trump with every resource necessary to correct the disastrous course set by the Biden administration. Yeah, sure, whatever, dude. Whatever. Globe as the Elder rating. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Welcome. Thank you, folks. Thank you. If you haven't seen me before, I am A Difficult Truth. I do the news. I do the politics. We're usually here at around 5 p.m. Eastern. If you enjoy the show, stream is glitching, and I bring you the people. No problem. No problem. We are going to finish up here, and but if you find folks want to know more about me, I am A Difficult Truth. I do the news and politics, mostly from a progressive or lefty perspective, and we just do the plain news. If you want to follow the channel, please feel free, as some of you have done so. Thank you, Globus, for bringing your wonderful community here. I appreciate it, folks. If you haven't done so, please go show Globus the Elder some love. I appreciate it. Thank you to the folks who are here. If you enjoy the content, don't forget, hit the follow button, and join us on Discord, folks. Join us on Discord. Stream is glitching, and I bring you the people. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hang tight, everybody. We've got this very important article to go through. So hang tight, everybody. It is imperative. And for those of you that are just joining in, we are going over the amendment that has been proposed by this House member, essentially offering Trump a third term as a constitutional amendment. Quote, he is dedicated to restoring the republic and saving our country, and we as legislators and as states must do everything in our power to support him, said Ogles, a hardline conservative who is serving his second term in the House. I am proposing an amendment to the Constitution to revise the limitations imposed by the 22nd Amendment on presidential terms. Ogles' move came 3 days after after Trump was sworn in as president. The resolution comes 2 months after Representative Dan Goldman, a New York Democrat, introduced a House resolution that reaffirms that the 22nd Amendment applies to 2 terms in this aggregate as President of the United States, and the amendment applies to the 70-year-old Trump. A White House spokesperson did not immediately reply for a request for comment on his resolution. Ogles' efforts do face long odds against success. For a resolution to amend the Constitution to be sent to the Archivist of the United States, it must receive 2/3 majority in both the House and the Senate. If that is done, then 3/4 of the state, which means 38 states, must ratify this amendment for it to become part of the Constitution. The 22nd Amendment, the Constitution states in part, no person shall be elected to office of president more than twice. Ogles' resolution seeks to revise this to say no person shall be elected to the office of president more than 3 times, with the caveat that people who serve 2 consecutive terms would be barred from being elected to a third. That's literally what Putin did. Yep. The difference here is that at least, presumably, there's a little bit more guardrails or hoops to jump through before you could do something. The point being is that the conversation is being had. This is something that they shamelessly brought to the floor with the purpose and explicit intent of trying to give Trump more power. That's the point. The original amendment also states no person who has held the office of president or acted as president for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected president shall be elected to the office of president more than once. In his statement Thursday, Ogles said the resolution he was introducing would allow President Trump to serve 3 terms, ensuring that we can sustain the bold leadership our nation so desperately needed. Yeah, whatever, dude. Larry Wolfa, thank you. And by the way, thank you for the new follows. Snuffleupagus, thank you. To this day, Roosevelt is the only president to ever elected more than 2 terms. He died in 1945, just less than 90 days after his 4th inauguration. Republicans hold an extremely narrow 3-seat majority in the House and have the majority by the same number of seats in the Senate. Few, if any, Democrats are likely to vote for Ogles' resolution with Trump in office. Over the course of his political career, Trump has repeatedly hinted at his willingness to serve more than 2 terms in office. I suspect I won't be running again unless you say he's good. We've got to figure something else out. Trump's reportedly mused to House Republicans during a private meeting. Like, this is not funny, dude. Shortly after his electoral victory over Democratic former Vice President Kamala Harris. Speaking to members of the NRA in May, Trump said, I don't know, we're going to have to consider 3 terms or 2 terms. Are we doing 3 or 2 terms if we win? This guy wants credit for being a kiss ass. Yep. Trump's openness to a 3rd term does not come to a surprise to some people who know him. The former Fox News journalist Geraldo Rivera, who was friendly with Trump for decades in New York, predicted in December that Trump and his allies would soon turn their attention to the 22nd Amendment. For future reference, President Trump and co. will soon start chattering about revoking the 22nd Amendment, which limits presidents to 2 terms. Yeah. Amending the Constitution is not the only way Trump could stay in power after his current term ends. Though the 22nd Amendment prohibits Trump from being elected president, it does not prohibit him from serving as president beyond January 20th of 2029, said Philip Klinker, professor of government at Hamilton College, in a recent article in The Conversation. The reason, thank you for the follow, High Potential, welcome. The reason for this is that the 22nd Amendment only prohibits someone from being elected more than twice. It says nothing about someone becoming president in some other way other than being elected into office. Klinker wrote that one hypothetical scenario would be Trump to run for vice president in 2028 and have Vice President Vance run at the top of the ticket for president. If elected, Vance could then resign, making Trump president again, but Vance would not have to even resign in order for vice president to exercise the power of a presidency. The 25th Amendment to the Constitution states that if a president declares that he is unable to discharge powers and duties of office, such powers and duties will be discharged by the vice president as acting president. Another scenario Klinker imagined is for Trump to encourage a family member to run for and win the White House. Once elected, they would serve as little more than a figurehead president while Trump made the key decisions. So, yeah, I mean, like, you know, it is possible that other avenues are taken. But the point being is that, like, these are the kind of conversations that these ghouls are having. They're putting forth amendments to try to extend Trump's legal limit of power. And the point being is, I think to be like a show of force and say, like, look, this is what we stand for, and B, show fealty to the dear leader. Whether or not this has any chance of making it anywhere, I think is not relevant. All this is nonsense. Yeah, this is all nonsense. But that's what they're trying to do. That's the mentality and the intent behind what these people are doing. You know, we it's very clear. It's very clear. Yeah, but Vance would Vance submit? Not unless it's to a couch. We're gonna wear that joke out. Bravo. I propose an amendment that I get chocolate ice cream on demand. That's actually a pretty good amendment. I would sign on to that amendment, okay? Fire Zapados, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. All right, folks. It's time for me to get some dinner. Thank you all for hanging out. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys being here. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. It really does help us out. And if you're on the YouTube, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and join the Discord, folks. It's the best way to keep up with the channel, and there's some cool and awesome people there. We also do events on the Discord. So yeah, if you want to join on the Discord, feel free. And also, if you want to support the channel directly, you can consider checking out the merch store and supporting directly with the ! tip. Thank you to all of the new follows, and welcome to all the new follows. Thank you, Pharaoh, Fire Zapdos, High Potential, Snuffleupagus. Thank you for the raid, Globus the Elder. Please consider checking him out. Phenomenal content. Please go check them out. Thank you for the subscriptions that you guys have given. Thank you, Bonzilla. Thank you, Heat, for the biddies and the subscription. Mister, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. Your guys' support is what keeps this channel going. Thank you, guys. As always, folks. Yes, join the YouTubes. As always, folks. Spread the word far and wide. We're here Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be back tomorrow for the news and the politics. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya. Have a good week, all. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Michael Hassler, and thank you, Heat, for modding the channel. I appreciate it. Hang tight, everybody. All right, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2,